This is the Unexpected Podcast. Well, hi, Lee.
Hey, Amy. Merry Christmas.
Same to you.
Oh.
Woo. And Merry Christmas out there. We are recording this before Christmas, but by the time you guys see it, it will either be Christmas Day or sometime after. So we'll say, I hope you had a Merry Christmas. How's that?
Hope you had a Merry Christmas. I hope you're having a Merry Christmas.
Right.
And Merry Christmas.
All the above. All right.
Have it all.
Well, Lee.
Yes. Amy.
Give me a D.
D.
Give me an O.
O.
Give me an O.
O.
Give me an R.
R.
Give me an M.
M.
Give me an A.
A.
Give me a T.
T.
What do you have?
Doormat.
Doormat.
A doormat. Okay.
Unfortunately, I don't have a little bitty doormat, a real one, because I thought, well, if it was one we already owned, it would be a little dirty.
Doormat.
But I made a little doormat. And, you know, the reason I did is because sometimes people treat us as though we have this written on our forehead.
Yes.
But guess what?
I wonder sometimes, yes.
Yeah. So I think if we had a title for this episode, we could call it Doormat No More.
Yeah. Doormat no more.
How's that? All right. Well, you know, that doesn't seem like maybe a very holiday type of topic, but
Well, Merry Christmas.
it can be.
Doormat.
Oh, yes, yes. Well, you know that I always or very often enjoy reading a passage from some book that I happen to be reading.
Right.
So I thought I would do that today, if you don't mind.
You know, it's always a surprise to me.
You're just here to go with the
I'm just here to go with the flow.
go with the flow.
Move with the groove. Chill with the bill.
Oh, that's good.
Mm,
How long can you get going?
I don't know.
That's good.
My vernacular or my vocabulary is limited.
It's pretty good though.
I do somewhat well.
I think you do pretty well. All right.
Thank you.
You have pretty good command of language when you really, really have something to say.
I command language.
Oh, all right.
Language you commanded.
Well, as you can see, I don't have a physical book because there's a book I've been reading on my Kindle.
Only that thick.
Yeah, because I'm currently reading a book that I wanted to read for years. I'm finally getting around to it. The book is Atlas Shrugged by Ayn Rand.
I just happened to know that.
Yeah, well, you saw me thumbing through our son's copy, but guess what? The print was too small. I mean, I can't go for that small
Would
print.
that be considered a tome?
A big tome.
Big tome?
That's a fun word.
Tome.
Tome.
Now,
Okay.
is that a tome? Is it like a tomb?
It's spelled T-O-M-E, I believe.
T-O-M-E?
large
T-O-M-B?
No.
C-O-M-B? Why is comb
Tome. Oh.
and tomb
Because
two different names?
that's the English language.
Anyway.
This is remind me of the old electric company episodes. Do you remember when we'd say like, tome, dun, dun, dun. I remember they would sound out the words. All right, so we've had 2 words for the day already. Doormat and tome.
Tome.
Okay.
Get back to the doormat.
Yeah. So there's something interesting. Now, this is such a huge book, written in the 1950s, but very applicable to today. And I'm not going to get into everything that the book's about, but there's something that's interesting, a little nuance that I came across.
Okay.
And so in this book, you have, multiple protagonists and multiple antagonists. So there are the people who are standing for freedom, for placing value on productivity and being true contributors to society.
Yeah.
And then there are the people who they're referred to in the book as the looters. These are the people in Washington and the people in business and science and all these areas.
Looters.
Yeah.
Always
They don't
robbing?
loot exactly. Through manipulation, through policy, through lobbying, through bureaucracy, that sort of thing. Okay.
Mhm.
So I'm not going to get into the whole premise of the book, but a couple of the guys that will be considered the bad guys. There's the scientist, and so they're talking about how do we, even though they don't use these kind of words, but they're basically saying, how can we control society? How can we manipulate? How can we basically move things in a way that fits what the policies we want to enforce, which are not policies that are, in the end, good for all of humanity.
Right.
But he says this. He says, now, he's basically saying there's one fatally dangerous weapon, our deadliest adversary. And so another guy in the conversation says, in response to this character, Dr. Ferris, he says, well, who is that? And he hesitated and shrugged, then answered, the guiltless man.
The guiltless man.
Yeah. And then he goes on to say, I mean, there is no way to disarm any man, said Dr. Ferris, except through guilt, through that which he himself has accepted as guilt. And so the reason that stands out to me is because although they're applying that kind of philosophy on a grand scale, people use it on a small scale. In other words, for example, if I say I'm a Christian, I'm a follower of Christ, well, there are certain expectations on my behavior, but sometimes those expectations aren't necessarily scriptural. They're this idea of what someone thinks they should be, and then sometimes people use that to take advantage of of others. Hence, the term doormat. In other words, it can be used against you. Well, how can you act like that? I thought you were a Christian.
If we were in Rome, we'd be Doormaticus.
I'm trying to think of a middle name. Dormaticus.
Gluteus Maximus.
We don't have to use gluteus. How are we getting on gluteus?
I don't know. It's just a fun word to say. Gluteus Maximus.
It is.
It means big butt.
I love your Latin terms.
No, it doesn't mean big butt. But it sounds like it should mean big butt.
Right.
Gluteus Maximus.
All right, gluteus. I'm going to call you gluteus.
Dormaticus.
Dormaticus. So the point being here is, and let me just throw in my personal experience here. There have been many times where I have wanted or needed to set boundaries, but I didn't for fear of what others might think or say. I might be accused of being selfish, for example, or I might be accused of, selfish I think will be a good one, or just not being nice. Well, I thought you were nice.
I thought you were a Christian.
Right.
I've had that before.
Exactly.
Thought you were a Christian.
Right. And in other words, they'll use that as a manipulative tool. So there have been times where, okay, so the way you can head this off at the pass is not being overly generous in a way that sets you up for having to then remove some of your generosity, thereby being accused of being selfish. So there have been times when we have maybe perhaps extended a certain level of hospitality, but then there are those people who will take advantage of your extended hospitality and then expect it later, and then later when you try to,
I don't care who you
set
are.
Some boundaries.
Everybody's got limits.
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody has a limit that you reach. It's like you've worn out your welcome, or you are overstepping your bounds. And I think I've done it. I have done it, but unbeknownst to me, because I like to serve. I like to help people. But even on the opposite side of that, being the teacher's helper and helping all the time is overstepping your bounds sometimes, because it can get on people's nerves and you're taking advantage of their patience.
Right. Oh, right. Yeah.
So I've been guilty of that before. But the other side of it, that's less malice than it is just naivety.
Right.
Sure. Being naive. I think I'd rather be naive than diabolical.
Right.
But some people will use you diabolically. How can I get what I want from this person? And, just because we're Christians, just because we're, men and women of God, turn the other cheek. If someone steals your cloak, give them your
or asks
for your cloak, give them everything. If somebody borrows, if somebody's coming to borrow something from me, I don't ever really I would like to get it back,
Mm-hmm.
but sometimes it doesn't come back.
Right. And then that comes down to, which I've heard this wisdom nugget and have learned to live by it. Don't loan anything out if you can't live without it. In other words, I mean, take like a book, for example. Most of the time, if someone borrows a book from you, you're not going to get it back. Not because they have the intention of keeping it. It's just that they're going to lay it aside and they're going to forget. And it just happens.
And 15 years later, you go back and you find it, because I've got a book right now that belongs to somebody, and I can't remember for the life of me who I borrowed it from.
Right.
I think they forced me to borrow it.
Right. They're like, read this.
Read this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. And I read some of it, and
okay.
It was all right. But
yeah.
I still got the book.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that is, yes, if you're going to loan something out, just be aware that there's a good chance you won't get it back.
Right. Let's get back to the doormat thing.
Yeah.
How many times have you felt like a doormat?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, have I, a little question for a married couple. Have I ever treated you like a doormat? And I question myself sometimes. It's like, do I treat Amy well?
Right.
I think a self-aware person should be constantly asking themselves questions. Am I treating people the way I want to be treated?
Yes.
Am I doing things to people that I would want them to do to me?
Right. And it's easy to take advantage of someone who sets themselves in a position to be taken advantage of.
Yeah.
So then, people who are vulnerable in that way, you really have to guard your heart and make sure you don't do that. But I also think that you can only be taken advantage of to the degree that you allow yourself to be taken advantage of. Yeah. So, for example, I think there are times when I should have put my foot down about something or said my opinion about something, but I didn't for fear of how it might be received or fear of how it might be even relayed to another person. So, in other words, if I set a boundary and said, hey, I don't want this going on in my house anymore, or I don't want, whatever the situation may be, there's times when I've been reluctant to do that because then it might get back to so-and-so, and they're going to think poorly of me. But recently I've just come to this conclusion that it's like, first of all, being honest should be priority.
Right.
My own personal peace should be priority. So I shouldn't sacrifice my own personal peace just because I care about what someone might think about me.
Yeah. Not caring what people think has its good and bad qualities. One, it can make you a slob, but then
right.
The other side of that is if you care what people think too much, it can drive you crazy, and you're over perfectionist because you think, what will that person think? For the longest of time, I in the past have thought, about what certain people would think if I did this one thing, or, but the fact of the matter is, unless they were like a good mentor in my life or a good person to listen to in my life, why does it even matter what they think?
Right.
And that's kind of being a door. You're creating yourself to be a doormat for emotional distress because what have they got to do with your life? I mean, some people speak nothing but negativity into your life, and they don't bring anything to the table, to add to your life, and they're constantly taking, so why even worry about what they think or anything?
Yeah.
But don't let them eat your lunch,
Yeah. But I love the point you made about, again, there's always a spectrum. For example, there are situations where we shouldn't worry about what people think. It's like we have to stand our ground, or we have to stand for what we think is right or true. On the other hand, we do care what people think to a degree. I mean, it goes back to what Scripture says about don't cast your pearls before swine, for one.
Right.
And then also, you do have to protect yourself. For example, like say in the workplace,
Mhm.
I'm not going to go and spout all my views about every issue among my coworkers
Mm-mm.
because, first of all, there wouldn't be any point in doing that. I'm there to do a job and not to spread what I think. But also, it could drive a wedge between people in certain situations. In fact, Luke and I, our oldest son, we were talking about this the other day, that sometimes, and I think it's the Holy Spirit, sometimes there are moments where you know to keep your mouth shut. It's like, there's no point in trying to open that can of worms because that person you're talking to isn't ready to receive what you have to say.
Right.
But it's like the Lord sometimes will give you just like a little moment where you can say something. You can like plant a seed that because it may be something that another person needs to hear or needs to think about. But you don't go and just open yourself up completely. So there's situations where you have to know how to navigate and how to be that's just wisdom.
Yeah. Don't share all your junk with people because that can come back and bite you.
Exactly. Don't air your dirty laundry.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. So there's that side of it. There's the wisdom side because, we do want to guard our reputation to a certain degree for the right reasons, of course.
Yep. And that's why we do a podcast and share everything.
Everything. But that's next episode. That's next episode when we air all of our dirty laundry. So check
all
back.
The skeletons are coming out of the closet.
Woo!
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That's
next time on the Unexpected Podcast with Amy and Lee.
Where we bear it all. No, I'm kidding. We won't do that. But we're also, to some degree, an open book because there is freedom in that as well.
There is freedom in being, truthful to people.
Yeah.
If they ask you a question, I mean, you can say, I don't want to talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
or you can
let it fly, because
true.
I've been here lately. It's been, what am I dealing with? Why am I dealing with this stuff? And why do I care what other people think? Why should I care what people think? Because it does nothing but bring worry and bring, strife. And it starts bringing up weird things in your head. It's like you start judging people because they're thinking this thing that you think that they're thinking, but they're not really thinking it because it's just you in your head thinking that they're thinking it.
Right. Okay. So how much energy, guys, are you guys exerting, and how much are we exerting?
Right.
Worrying about things that nobody else is thinking about.
Right.
We do that, don't we?
Oh, man. I still think about stuff that I did 20 years ago that, I said this thing to that person and now I'm cringing 20 years later. And that person doesn't have a clue.
They've forgotten it.
They've already forgotten it.
Long ago.
I'm being a doormat to that situation.
Okay.
And that we become doormats to life a lot of times by our own worries and our own was it fruition, or is that right? Fruition? Is that right? No, brings to fruition.
Yeah.
See, I am not up on some of the lingo and the words.
It's the holidays, right? We're not supposed to be using
Merry
our brain.
Christmas. I'm getting
capacity.
words wrong. Well, there we go. There's me another cringe moment that I'll have for later on. In 20 years, I'll think about, remember when I said that
but no
fruition?
One else will remember.
Well, it's recorded. It's on YouTube.
Right.
And now it's out there, and now we can't do anything about it.
Out there forever.
Forever.
Ever and ever and ever. All right.
On the interwebs.
So on that, interwebs, woohoo! On that note, we've got a final thing to do that Lee doesn't know anything about.
Uh-oh, this is scary.
But let me just move, before we segue.
Do I need to move anything?
Maybe. Before we segue, let me just encourage you all to not be a doormat any longer, if you have been, in ways that you shouldn't be. All right. Well, Lee, I've got something else down here in my little
It
bag. It is
Christmas.
So I've got something for you.
I got a present.
It's a present.
Woo!
Okay, but I'm gonna remove the contents one at a time. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Here we go. And thanks to my lovely coworker who gave me this adorable Christmas plate. We're gonna use it on air.
Ginger.
Thank you, Lori.
Bread man.
Okay. I bought something. I'm gonna let you guess. I bought something that that's great. That's lovely. I bought something that's going to be a special treat, maybe. Something that I'm not sure I've ever eaten before.
Oh, no.
Maybe I haven't, maybe I haven't. I don't remember, but I got one to try on air. Here we go.
Oh, my goodness. What is it?
The thing that I always look at in the store.
Oh, my gosh.
The fruitcake.
Fruitcake?
Yes. Don't you guys, okay, first
you
of
want
all.
me to open it while you talk?
Yeah. Does anybody out there buy
gosh,
this
it's so heavy
and like it? I mean, it is. It's like a brick.
Some people love them.
Okay.
Some people,
Have you tried them before?
Long time ago, and
Okay.
I thought I was going to.
You didn't like it?
No.
Maybe. Here's the thing. I can't remember if I've ever tried one of these highly processed fruitcakes. But what if I end up just loving it? It might end up being my favorite thing. I don't think so, though.
You would.
Okay, and I did bring a knife. We'll just have to eat with our fingers, though. Look at that. Okay, yeah, we're for you know what? I am doing a terrible job of keeping the dead air down because for those of you all who are listening, you don't even know what we're doing here. We're opening up a fruitcake, and
not me.
We're gonna. Oh, you're not the fruitcake, but we're gonna take a little bite.
All right.
All right.
Ahead.
So here we go.
Go ahead and cut
Here we
this.
go.
Let's see here.
I'll cut a little piece. Oh, I don't even know if the knife will go through it. Oh my goodness. Okay, cutting a slice of fruitcake, and then I'm cutting it in half.
Here we go.
There's a green piece of something in mine.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here we go. We're going to try this fruitcake.
Here we go.
1, 2, 3. Okay, well.
Tastes like wood.
It does. It's like, it really tastes like eating tree bark with a little hint of fruit here and there. I don't want to chew in the microphone.
ASMR.
Oh. Okay.
By the way.
It leaves an aftertaste that's kind of like, makes you think of what paint thinner might taste like. You know what I mean?
Paint thinner.
Yeah. It's like...
or varnish.
Varnish. That's what it is.
It's varnish.
Varnish. There's probably... we'll have to go on a detox after this. Oh, my goodness. That is fascinating.
And the water's salt.
And our water, yes. Lee just replenished our water filtration system, but it's got some salt taste in it. That's okay. It's better than the fruitcake. Okay, so what's this called? You know, I hate to do bad PR for this company, but Claxton Fruitcake, choice of millions since 1910. I mean, they're always out on display at the grocery store.
And if you love this,
yeah,
good on you.
Hats off to you. I mean,
yeah,
no judgment here.
You know,
I think
my tastes have changed a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's kind of like when you first drink coffee. It takes a while for it to grow on you, maybe, or sushi, or
yeah. Good point. Good point. The main ingredient, raisins. I love raisins. Orange peel. Okay. My understanding is you're not supposed to eat orange peel, but that's okay. Enriched flour, malted barley, lots of fortification of vitamins, papaya, cherry, nut meats, which is hilarious, which is almonds, pecans, walnuts. I mean, it's got lots of things that are real food in them, but it's also got a lot of stuff that, yeah, we shouldn't probably eat. You know, I'd love to know the origin of fruitcake. I should have researched that, but there's probably a homemade fruitcake. You guys let us know. Does anybody make, or have you eaten homemade fruitcake?
My grandmother used to make it.
Okay.
It would have to ferment.
Oh, the fruit or just
the mix?
Okay.
Would ferment.
Okay, that makes sense.
And then you would just, I don't know what else she would do, but she would like ferment.
Okay.
if I'm wrong, say something. But
Yeah.
I remember it sitting on the counter and fermenting.
Okay.
That's all I remember of her making fruitcake.
Well, I would have loved to taste that. I've tasted that. So
it was about like that.
Okay. All right. Well, that was a tasty treat.
This was made best when served chilled.
Oh, really?
It feels chilled. Did you leave it in the car overnight?
No, it was just in our pantry. So, which is kind of chilly back there in our laundry room / pantry.
Did you hide it?
Yeah. Anyway, well, guys, that was
interesting. It has a taste. It has a different kind of taste.
Very unique. Very unique.
Well, that was unexpected.
That was unexpected. And this rounds out the last episode for us for 2024. So thank you all for being with us. If you stuck around this long, we appreciate you so much. Please like and subscribe. I think our subscriber number on YouTube is getting up there. Yeah. And the more people who subscribe, then the more people will find us. So we appreciate you guys doing that. But most of all, we just appreciate you for tuning in, and we do pray for you. There are times I think, I don't know who all the people are who are watching or listening, but I lift you up in prayer. And so we want to wish you a very Merry Christmas.
Yes.
Happy New Year.
Yeah.
And we'll see you in 2025.
See you guys.
Don't forget to like this video and please subscribe to our channel. Drop your comments below. We'd love to hear from you. If you prefer audio podcasts, please follow us on your favorite streaming platform.